Number 15. Mall bikers. Imagine heading into work at your mall job when a group of jewel thieves on motorbikes bursts out of a store and speeds down the hall of mall walkers. That's what happened first thing in the morning at Brent Cross Shopping Centre in North London, when 6 thieves on 3 motorbikes took as much as they could from Fraser Hart Jewelry Store 15 minutes after the centre opened, before taking off with up to 2 million euros in jewels. ABC News published this video in November of 2012. The footage shows the culprits dressed all in black taking off on their bikes. According to the BBC, they abandoned their motorbikes at a nearby golf course. An eyewitness to the event, Claire Smalley, told the BBC, "We looked out and we saw 6 men, 2 on each bike, pull up outside Fraser Hart and telling everyone to stay back. Among the jewelry and items taken were Rolex and Cartier watches. This smash and grab on tape is certainly something you don't see every day." Number 14. Sea lion. Imagine you pull in your fishing net to find something extraordinarily large, something crazy strong, something that you definitely wouldn't want to meet in a dark alley. That's what this group of Russian fishermen found in their net in October of 2014 as they fished off the Pacific coast. When they hauled in their catch, they probably thought it was loaded, but once dumped on the deck, a huge sea lion busted on the scene. They cut the sea lion free of the net, and it promptly took out its anger on a nearby fisherman. As the sea lion looked around, probably confused as to where in the world he was, one of the crewmen tried to shoo the creature away by throwing something at him. Then the crew's dog sadly also got mixed up in the brawl. Afterwards, he seems to be settling in on the deck like he decided to call this place home sweet home. But the men got a hose usually used in deck cleaning and started spraying the sea lion, which did the trick. He ambled away, flopping clumsily over the piles of net and finally reaching the other side, where he presumably hopped back into the Pacific. Male sea lions can weigh in at more than 800 pounds. This particular sea lion is believed to be female though, of the Steller species, the largest sea lion species in the world, which resides from California to Japan on the northern Pacific coasts. Surprisingly, this crazy incident isn't as unusual of an occurrence as you might think. Sea lions sadly can become trapped in the nets and can suffocate underwater. This one made it out alive, but she wasn't too happy about getting trapped in the first place. Number 13. Hailstorm at Cradlestone. Imagine weather so strong that it blows part of the roof off a mall. That's what shoppers experienced in Cradlestone Mall in Krugersdorp, South Africa, when this massive hailstorm hit the shopping center in October of 2017. A weather warning had been issued for forecasters, and this time the weatherman was correct. The storm battered the suburbs of West Rand with golf ball-sized hail that prompted many to post the storm's damage to social media. This clip, published to YouTube by intelligence bureau PTY Ltd, was one of those posts. In the video, the crashing storm blows a structure standing in the parking lot outside right over, and trees are seen outside billowing in the high winds. Although the footage is terrifying, it's lucky the YouTubers were caught inside rather than out in a storm like this. Number 12. Pink Panthers. In April of 2007, shoppers at the Wafi Mall outlet in Dubai were met with a sight they probably thought they'd never see before. A group of miscreants smashing into the glass storefront with taken Audis and making off with loads of jewelry. As the facts of this story unfolded, these miscreants were found to be members of a group called Pink Panther. The name was given to the group by Interpol after they hit Japan and Europe with a string of thefts. At around 10 p.m., the Panthers took from the Graf store in the mall in their black and white Audis, scaring shoppers and fleeing with around $4 million worth of jewelry in a matter of seconds. Despite their nickname, the men weren't dressed in pink but rather head to toe in black. They raced into the jewelry store and started breaking glass displays open, filling their bags, before hopping back in their vehicles to flee the scene. They then fled the scene and dropped their vehicles at Zabeel Road, burning them in order to get rid of evidence. The whole theft was caught on CCTV footage at the mall, and Dubai police later took 2 suspects into custody before they were able to leave the United Arab Emirates, while 2 more suspects managed to get away. The taken jewelry was discovered in the suspect's rental car, and one of those who'd left the country was later turned over to the Dubai police. The Pink Panther group committed the same type of theft all over Europe, holding up in cheap hotels, using rental cars, plowing into glass storefronts, and making off with millions in jewelry. A documentary was made on the Pink Panthers and released in 2013. Number 11. Thresher Shark. What happens when you reel in what you think will be your biggest catch of the day, and it turns out to be a shark? That's what these fishermen in the Philippines had to contend with when they pulled abroad a thresher shark, known for its long tail, which is often as long as the shark's body. Though this species of shark is not a huge threat to humans, thresher sharks are hunters, and they use their giant tails to knock out their prey. They also breach like dolphins or whales, jumping out of the water as they hunt mackerels, tuna, and some seabirds. Some fishermen catch them to take their tails, fins, liver oil, and flesh. Others catch them for sport. Laws have been put in place to prevent damage to the marine ecosystem. These fishermen seem to be well aware of these laws as they unhook the big fish and release it, huge tail and all, back into the ocean. Good job, guys. Number 10. Bush League. A police chase began in Winnipeg and the culprit was a 23-year-old man. The driver led them on a high-speed chase. After taking the vehicle at 12:15 in the morning, the vehicle was spotted from above by Air 1 as the thief attempted to flee the scene. Police were in hot pursuit, but the driver sped away and eventually drove headlong into a guardrail. Still, he tried to flee on foot, racing into a neighborhood nearby and hiding in the bushes. The copter crew spotted him via night vision from above and were able to direct police on the ground to his location. He was taken into custody and charged. Hopefully, he learned from his failed attempt to flee justice. If not never to take someone else's car again, at least to find a better hiding place. Number 9. Brazilian Girl Ghost. Published by Now You Know in July of 2018, the YouTuber writes that after a security guard spotted a ghost in a Brazilian mall, he recorded the sighting with his phone. According to Now You Know, what he spotted left him stunned and scared to return to his job. The footage shows a small figure from afar, heading up some escalators, hoping to see the ghost up close. The security guard runs across the floor of the department store, but by that time, the girl ghost had disappeared. Then, to his left, he catches the figure, which had been just moments before on the above floor. He screams and the video goes shaky.
I'm no Jesus. I'm no Jesus.
As the guard panics and flees. According to the Daily Star, this security guard had seen this ghost before, and he thought it must be the ghost of a girl who passed away in the mall. While some in the comments of this video call fake, and others believe it's a prank, those with faith in the spirit world are getting goosebumps. So in other words, do you have the chills? Number 8. Don't forget the plastic bag. Well, this intruder didn't come storming in. His holy brazen theft is one for the books. The Dollar General he targeted appears to be closed at the time of the incident. That's when our suspect simply busts through the shop's glass front door, ducks inside, walks calmly over to the cash register, grabs 2 mittfuls of some products sitting on the counter, steps over and places whatever he's thieving into a plastic bag, then calmly leaves the way he came. The entire incident lasts just over 30 seconds. The suspect doesn't even bother to disguise himself or conceal his identity, and his break-in triggered an alarm, alerting the police, but no report could be found on whether or not he was captured. One thing's for sure, that's a seriously gutsy break-in for very little to show for it. Number 7. Views from above. A culprit took a car that wasn't his in Washington state. As you can see in the video, the helicopter is searching for the suspects, and he does manage to zero in on one, crouching down behind a vehicle in an alleyway. As the copter pulls around, it catches an additional suspect. According to the recording, the other 3 have seemingly already been caught by police on the ground using FLIR. The Kings County Sheriff's Office Guardian 1 helicopter keeps an eye on the pair while awaiting the police crew's arrival. They remain motionless, ducking down in their hiding spots. After alerting the police on the ground to the pair's location, forces below head over to the area to take the culprits into custody. While they're on the move, the pair attempt to slow crawl their way out of the alley. Of course, the copter relays their movements to police on foot. Soon enough, they make contact and are taken in without incident. They wait in the alley for patrol cars to pick them up. It's certainly interesting how essential thermal cameras can be in situations like this. Number 6. Thermal plus Connect. Michael D. McGee has been haunted for years. He communicates with the ghosts in his residence and publishes the footage on his channel, where his followers watch curiously. In one of these videos, published in April of 2016, the YouTuber was following up on some paranormal activity captured on the ITC. He decided to reset the experiment and start from scratch. He explains that he didn't tell the spirits that he was experimenting. He just set up the recording equipment, hit record, and left. When he returned, he began speaking to the spirits by name and explaining to them what he was doing, and that he believed the experiment would be mutually beneficial to him, the spirits, and their future communication. He then hit record again. What he found was that during the control experiment, where he hadn't informed the spirits, there was no visible activity, no white noise, nothing in the thermal camera, and no anomalies on the Kinect. But 2 minutes into the second experiment, he caught both an image on the Kinect and the thermal cam along with sound. A voice in the spirit box is heard saying, "Who's that?" Who is that indeed? The double capture on the thermal cam and the Kinect seems to validate that some sort of supernatural being is there. The cold spot made its way across the room on the thermal camera and then picked up on the Kinect ascending the stairs. What do you think? Who is that? Number 5. The abandoned mall. Shopping malls can be very scary places, especially when abandoned at night. Biohazard Gaming published this video in February of 2016 writing, "Alone with my friend and we keep hearing things, including this laughing children's ice cream truck ride." The footage shows the friends at the Gateway Mall in Springfield, Oregon, and in the video, the YouTuber says that they are hearing noises coming from one direction in the mall, as well as from this children's ride. According to the YouTuber, the truck keeps randomly laughing at them, either via a motion sensor or some unexplainable means.
Don't look at me.
Even creepier, each subsequent laugh keeps getting louder and longer. The ladies want the truck to laugh one last time before they leave so they can catch it on video. The woman filming presses the ride's button, then steps slowly backwards away from the ice cream truck. After backing away about 15 feet, the truck starts chortling. And later it laughs again near the end of the video as the film rolls. There's nothing creepier than a clownish laugh in the darkness of an abandoned mall, except maybe the YouTuber's Chewbacca ringtone that goes off around the 2-minute mark. Number 4. Ghost Girl. This footage, published by the Ghost Finders in June of 2012, purportedly captures the thermal energy of a ghost girl in a common room at Penhurst. The thermal energy figure stands still and then appears to turn her head before the energy disappears in a sudden burst of light. The Ghost Finders explain in the comments section why ghosts might appear warm in the thermal camera footage. We have found that spirits will draw heat from their environment because heat is another form of energy, so they draw on this heat to either manifest or find some type of way to communicate. So if it starts to feel colder, or you start feeling cold spots, those are just areas of which the spirit is drawing from. According to Ghost Finders, you may feel tired as well, as the spirit drains your energy or body heat. Such events usually occur as a means for the spirit world to communicate with the living across dimensions. A response often followed by the spirits was this ghost girl trying to communicate. Number 3, North Sea Storm. There's nothing like watching a storm fall over the sea, and there's really nothing like being on a fishing boat as you watch it overtake you. This Scottish fishing vessel was crossing the North Sea when it got caught up in this crazy wave maker. If you get seasick, you might want to skip this video. The large ship rocks back and forth like a tiny tugboat as water is tossed onto the deck. The video reveals just how frightening and unpredictable the open waters can be. The North Sea isn't a stranger to sea storms. Located between Germany, Scandinavia, Great Britain, France, Belgium, and the Netherlands, it connects with the Atlantic Ocean on the south through the English Channel and on the north through the Norwegian Sea. While historically the North Sea was the thoroughfare for Vikings, it's now home to major fishery and includes many shipping lanes. Being as such, many ships cross this sea even on rough, choppy waters. Just last year, in January of 2017, a ship sank due to bad weather, leaving a 7-person crew stranded. Luckily, they were all saved by the UK Coast Guard. But had this ship sank in the dodgy waters in this video, I can't imagine the Coast Guard would have been so lucky. Number 2, Galaxy Mall Possession. Although this footage, posted in July of 2018, claims to show a ghost at Galaxy Mall in Anisal, India, the clip seems to instead show a possession. A woman with long black hair seen rolling around on the ground of what appears to be a mall parking garage, screaming like a banshee. As 2 men stand over her trying to calm her down, more than a dozen other men are standing at a distance looking on. Everyone backs away from her, seemingly at a loss for what to do. The woman throws herself around on the ground, rolling over while her screams continue. She pounds her chest and rolls towards one of the men, who quickly backs away. Someone races over and, holding both her hands and talking to her, manages to calm her into silence, after which she rolls peacefully to her side on the floor. It's unclear what they said to calm her, but a short while later, as they carry her to a vehicle, she is heard crying in a much more human voice. But then again, she somehow gets outside the vehicle and is on the ground again, screeching. The group seems to have given up at this point, as they all back away, leaving the woman to lie on the floor. What is going on in this video? Is it a possession, a ghost, or something else altogether? One thing's clear, this poor woman needs help, and these security guards aren't paid enough to deal with this. I've got a challenge for you. Since you've made it this far, why not like this video and hit subscribe in the next 5 seconds? Because we upload a new scary video every week. If you're curious about what I look like in real life, then go to my Instagram at DylanIsChillinYT and tap that follow button to find out. Number 1, the chase. What does a high-speed police chase look like from above? This footage shows us exactly what it looks like using night vision. When a man took a 2007 Chrysler sedan in San Diego, things were not going to end well. 45 minutes later, when the police spotted the car heading down the freeway, the chase began, and the man and his accomplice tore through the Claremont Mesa neighborhood at around midnight on a Saturday. The chase was short-lived. The culprit quickly exited the freeway, turned down a residential street, and tried to flee on foot. You can see his figure on night vision abandon the vehicle and jump the fence into the backyard of a stranger's home. You can also see the police pursuing him as the helicopter reports the culprit's movements from above and advises not to follow. The police hold his position as ordered, and K9 units are called to the scene. Finding himself with nowhere to go, the man takes his own life. The crew informs ground forces of what has happened and directs them to his location. The accomplice, who is still in the vehicle, was taken into custody, and I'm sure this incident was difficult to recover from for everyone involved. Thanks for checking out this video. Be sure to subscribe because we upload new countdowns every Tuesday and Saturday. Or if you're still not convinced, here are some of our other videos that I think you'd like. Enjoy!